When you think of power or powerful SUVs, people have limited options in mind. So there are the Prados, we have the Jeep Grand Cherokees, we have the LandRover Defenders, and that is a very narrow vision. Because yes, some of those vehicles are quite economical, let's say in the maintenance aspect, but hujapata the thrill of a 3.2 liter SUV like this before. Because like the Jeep Grand Cherokee, this car also has a very big engine, but in all that, it still maintains its fuel economic aspect. So today I present to you the Ford Everest Titanium. The Ford Everest. This car, it's based on the Ford Ranger. This is the second generation for the model of the Ford Everest. It's based off the Ford Ranger. We also know other SUVs that are based off their other pickup counterparts. For example, the Isuzu D-Max and the Isuzu MU-X. So in the Ford Rangers are known for their excellent capabilities and practicality. They are quite reliable in all terrains. And this car, they just developed from a double cab to an SUV, making this car not only resilient, not only quite practical, but also very good to maintain on the roads. Since we all know Fords azinanga mashida mingi. Yes, kuna zile here and there, but for this vehicle, according to the research I've done, the only problems that have been found are quite minor issues, not that deep issues. So that's why I would like you to take a closer look up into the Ford Everest. So at the face of this car, we all know the Ford Raptors. So Ford decided to continue its loud badging at the front as well in the titanium car. So hapa kuna the Ford Everest badge. We have the mountains badge here at the front to show that this car is capable of off-roading. This car is also known as a Rhino. So at the front of the lights here on both sides, there is a Rhino badge as well. Here at the lights, we have the halogen lights, xenon and daytime running lights. Here we have the fog lights below. We have a massive ground clearance at the front with a lot of sensors, both on the plastic and on the plastic guards at the front. We have a massive air intake to help your turbo ikispool. This car, massive, wonderful. What else can you say about the front of this car? It's quite large, quite wide. It's a strong presence on the road when you drive this car because it speaks power. Look at the size of this bonnet. It reminds me of the Jeep Grand Cherokee I did earlier, which you can see tagged up at the video above. So, what powers the Ford Everest Titanium? As you can see here at upper corner, I was showing the Rhino badge. So it's also called a Ford Rhino. It's a 2017 model, and it's powered by a 3.2 liter 5-cylinder turbocharged engine. That power for this vehicle is insane. It helps it achieve 200 horsepower and 470 newton meters of torque. Now, in the engine part, they are in the other counterparts, for example, other three models for the Ford Everest in the market. You will find the petrol and the diesel category, and in the petrol we have the 2 and the 2.3 liter, sorry. And in those, all those are turbocharged, and in the diesel we have the 2 liter and the 2.2 liter and then the 3.2 liter. All those are turbocharged, but in the 2 liter category you can get a twin turbo system. So what is complicated here? Basically this car uses a Ford Ranger engine, tuseme. So not a lot of things can go wrong in this vehicle because the Ford Rangers themselves hazinanga a lot of issues. Ni kama the Toyota Hilux, for example. That's why most organizations in Kenya, let's say the Kenhat, Meziona, they use the Ford Rangers kwenda surveys kwa barabara, kwenda the tolls. We have seen the Ford Rangers kwa barabara. These cars are very powerful, magnificent, and with a turbocharged engine, they help it gain more power and gain more in their performance aspect. At the side profile of the Ford Everest, just look at this. It's quite magnificent. It's got a very heavy presence. It speaks power and performance. Basically, when you drive this thing, you are sure you're not getting stuck anytime soon. At the front there, you see the line work there, in a smooth curve. That's like a mini wide body kit, so as to cover this large 22-inch alloy wheels. So the biggest difference between the Ford Ranger and the Ford Everest are the rear suspensions. The Ford Ranger uses the long leaf suspensions, and in this one they uses the coil suspension. So why did they do that? The Ford Ranger it's basically used to put on heavy luggage hapo nyuma, but this car haina luggage. It's basically an SUV, so there's no need to put a heavy duty suspension on the rear. So they give it a coil suspension to make it feel like more of an SUV than a truck. So what else comes with this car? Side steps, kuna mirror indicators hapo juu, kuna this chrome badge with a 3.26 speed auto. Here, this is where I was saying as well, the Rhino badge. Yeah, haina chrome mingi except on this key. Kwingine kote ni dark tints. Basically, when you're driving this car, hauna glare mingi. Iko nayo kila mahali, even the front window. Very appealing. On the top, we have the roof rails and a shark fin on top as well. On top as well, we have the panoramic sunroof and the moonroof. It's a very, very attractive car. So when we go to the rear, at first it might seem bland, but using the key, let's say we unlock. Very nice. So we have the LED lights here, we have the brake lights on top, we have the reflectors down below. So this car, it's very easy to unlock. Once you the instructions, you have just to press 2 times on the key and the boot unlocks. So if you have heavy luggage and you have key at hand, unafinya tu and it unlocks. To return it down, you just have to press this button right here. So before tuingie ndani, we have 4 sensors at the rear here, 1, 2, 3 and 4. This basically ni to prevent when you're about to crash ama reverse into something, the car automatically stops, preventing you from causing further damage to a vehicle. Ama usicrash, ugwaruze, wanzie paint job, ama crash into the rear car. What else? It has a single exhaust at the bottom down there. Sijui kama it is quite visible. Iko na spare wheel at the bottom, so you are covered there. Ndo hapa msianze kushangaa mbona hakuna spare, hakuna room ya nini. It works less like the Prados. So the part I was going to say, this car is full of certain things that make you want to appreciate this car more and more. That's why I will pick this over a Prado. Let's start off. They gave you this leather padding to prevent you from scratching this material below. So this material acts like a velcro. Ukiweka hapo ina increase friction, so hautaweza kuitoa virahisi hata ukidrag your heavy suitcases. So and what is down here? Down here we have the tool place where you can store your jacks, your lug nuts, hizo tools zote. Here we have the 12-volt socket, and here we have the light. So these buttons, quite interesting. Ajua normally in most cars we have levers at the rear ya kusaidia to take the seats down, but Ford Everest went a step further to make this car feel quite more premium in its place. So you just have to press the button right there and kiti inajiinua juu, and ukitaka iende chini you just do the same. You have to press and it goes down like that as well. And to give you a more better feel why Ford went a step further, this leather padding is on all seats. Basically they expect you to use the whole trunk as a boot. So even the front seats zinakuja na hiyo leather padding. This car, it's actually a direct import. That explains all the film. It hasn't been used a lot. It actually doesn't been used in Kenya. It's a fresh import. It's a new car. So even the front, upper the rear seats, it's a 7-seater. So unaona 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and the seats are quite spacious as well at the rear for this vehicle. Najua watu wengi wanasemanga haikwangi practical. For the kids that will sit here, they will enjoy it because the rear seats are basically not for adults. So they also added the leather padding with velcro at the rear seats. And tukirudisha juu so that we can review the rear seats, you just have to push the buttons and then close the boot like that. Lovely. So let's go to the interior review of the Ford Everest. So in the Ford Everest, in the interior, let's start off with this car. It's quite roomy. So tukiangalia even the headroom itself with the panoramic sunroof at the rear, huku it has the panoramic and the moonroof. So with this dual tweeter 2 sunroof, it's quite space. It has still quite of a headroom, and the legroom itself I can't complain, and the toe room. Material wise, hapo ndio nazasema this car it's kind of a letdown, because the 3.2 liter it's supposed to be a premium vehicle since it's the top spec, but the only places where you will feel ama utapata the feel of the luxurious ni huku kwa upa tu penye dash, hapo ni leather. As in leather, it's in the right places but not all places. Sijui kama that makes sense. Let's start off with when I said earlier, it's here on the top of the dash. Huku kwingine kwote, hapa juu it's plastic, hapa chini plastic, here glove box plastic, kwa milango plastic, center console plastic, 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 steering rubber. Why? Ngeka tu leather. Plastic. Oh, it's not plastic, sorry. This is leather. Plastic, soft plastic, plastic, leather. So, kama hiyo si kitu ya kukubo, for the price of this vehicle, I think they should have put leather. You see cheap, but see expensive. Ile kama LandRover Defender, actually. This is quite cheaper. But, wangeka tu. As in, why not? Higher. So that aside, storage part, they conquered it well. So at the center, here we have 2 cup holders. Here at the center console, we have this deep storage. Counts as an armrest as well. Here at the bottom, we have ample storage where you can place your phone while it's charging on these 2 USBs. You can also have these 2 12-volt socket charging ports. At the center console hapa sasa kwa the infotainment section, we have the climate controls down below, the volume knob and the tune knob. Here you can insert your disc. So here you can pair your phone, you can change your settings, unaweza tumia, you can use Google Maps as well. At the steering, you have the knobs for controlling the volume, controlling the stations. Here on the other side, we have the options for navigating the menu, turning off or on the lane keeping assist, the cruise control and setting them as well. Here we have the levers for controlling the indicators, the wipers and that, and the other things. Here we have the knob which controls the light for the vehicle. On the doors, power windows that comes basic, yeah. So hii haina ile ya kulock milango hapa. You have to use the buttons hapa. Haina ile knob that we have seen in many standard vehicles. Yeah. Apart from that, sound system, it's great. Everything else is great. But here too material ndio let down. Aside from that, VT comfortable. Oh, the other part of the chairs, the front rows, the seats are electrically adjustable, which gives it an extra boost as a premium vehicle. And I've already stated the sunroof, and if you want to move it, you have to use the buttons at the top here, and if you want to close it, you use the button here. To open the blinds by themselves, you use the buttons here and here. So tufunge gari, twende the rear seats review. In the rear seats, stay clear all this plastic, but basically inakuja pia na this leather floor finish, so even if you are off-roading in mud, hautachafuka. At the center, we have the AC and the charging port in the center. We have the 12-volt socket. Here we have the control valve for the ACs as well, where you can adjust the intensity for the air. At the doors, you also don't have those locks that comes with standard vehicle. It comes with these luxury feeling buttons to lock the doors. The sound system for this car, it's very nice. Upper juice, so these are the AC ducts. You have the lights here to help you see the center, because the center on top, it's this moonroof. So I won't go to the rear seats, but as you can see, it's quite spacious as well. Each seat comes with a cup holder on both sides. Yeah, even the center for this seat has a cup holder, but hakuna haja karatasi tu kuonesha kitu kidogo hivyo. So, who shall buy the 2017 Ford Everest? If you're looking to buy this vehicle, first of all, you need to have a good grip on the all-terrain vehicles, because this car, it's a competitor for the LandRover Defenders, for the Jeep Grand Cherokees. It's like the US, basically, they know how to devise their powerful engines, and the Ford company itself, they know how to utilize the Ford Ranger capabilities into this vehicle. The Ford Rangers, as I said earlier, this car was developed from the Ford Ranger, and the Ford Everest speaks true to it. That's why tumeona the Kenha, KPLC, most companies, the government institutions, they choose the Ford Ranger because wakienda uko mashinani, the uko ushago, where they install the roads, they install networks, they need a sturdy vehicle, and the Ford Everest delivers on that. So as a personal SUV, this car can be used as a daily driver, because the fuel economy for this vehicle, it's quite nice. On the ukienda in bad terrains, it can consume hapo 12 kilometers per liter, and in highway speeds, you can reach up to 16 kilometers per liter as well. So that is a bonus to your pocket as well. Maintenance aspect, this is a Ford. In Kenya, kuna a lot of Ford vehicles. This being a counterpart of the Ford Ranger, parts are easy to find. So that is a bonus as well. Sio kama Jeep ama other luxury brands that you have to import all the parts that you need for your maintenance aspect. The price for the vehicle, it's 5.9 million, a direct import. But if you are buying locally, you will find it at 6.5 million to 6.2, depending on the showroom that you go to. But for this vehicle specifically, it's a direct import going for 5.9 million. So if you are looking to buy a sturdy SUV with a lot of traction control, with a lot of safety features that help you to maintain sturdiness on the road, comfort appeal maximum, for the safety of the family, hata kama you are going, let's say, a long road trip, or you're just going up a mall crawling, this car has your back, because tumeona the trunk space, it can be adjusted from 450 liters to 2000 liters instantly with the push of a button. So tune in to Drive to see more cars that will feature onwards.